The Heroes and the Hidden by Kitty Quat on AO3. Episode 21. Chapter 20. Soldier On. Report witnesses a gruesome crime corrupted of a mother and a daughter who say that they were targeted by an anti-mutant group. The mother and daughter pair, whose names are being obscured for privacy reasons, claim that real-life monster broke through the wall and proceeded to bite the head off of the anti-mutant leader and eat it. The other two members tried to flee, but were cut down by the monster and dismembered. One lost an arm and the other lost an entire lower half. We do not have any leads on the creature, save for the description given by the mother and daughter, and the claw marks left at the scene. Be on the lookout for an 8-foot creature with thick black fur. It stands at its two hind legs, almost human-like. Its large paws, sharp razor-sharp claws, able to penetrate flesh like butter. It has sharp ears, like that of a bat, and a large bushy tail. The mother claims that the face was that of a dog's muzzle, while the eyes were strikingly feline. We have no evidence if this creature is a rare animal with a mutant quirk, a human or an experiment, or a monster from hell. Take no chances if you spot the creature. Please be cautious walking home at night, and always tell your loved ones where you are. Any sightings or leads must be immediately reported to the Masatofu police station at once. Thank you, and be safe. Nomura shut off the TV, grinning wildly. He scratched as he bounced his legs, leaning forward intently. "Did you hear the news, Master?" he asked excitedly, scratching faster. "Yes, I did, young Shigaraki." His master's voice rings out through the videoless TV that sits on the wall. "Do you have an idea?" Tomura smiles, standing up and walking to the bar. "If we could recruit a monster from hell itself, we can enact our plan to kill All Might faster." He gestures for some alcohol from Kirigiri, who pours him a glass. "That monster is the same size as him, and he bit the head off of a man with ease." His master has a slight tit to his voice when he speaks again. "Do not believe everything on TV, my student." Shigaraki frowns. Why didn't his master sound excited about this opportunity? "You have my permission to hunt down the monster from hell." He finishes before the audio cuts out. "Be careful, young Tomura." Kirigiri warns. "The monster seems to be fond of flesh." Tomura frowns, downing his drink. "I'm not scared," he claimed, pushing himself away from the bar and standing up. "I'm gonna go play. Get ready to act tomorrow night." Aizawa shoots out his capture weapon, stopping the young boy from hitting the concrete. From his view on the opposite roof, he could see the child's body shaking, as if he were crying. He gently lets the child down, running over to comfort the suicidal kid. The green curl hair makes him slow down, watching the kid curl up onto the ball on the floor. Izuku is covered in blood and smells like vomit. He is barefoot on the cold floor, his shoes abandoned above. The green and red of the kid reminds him so much of the spider lilies he has seen along the road. The flower of death. "Hey, kid," Aizawa says quietly, making the child stiffen before clawing backwards quickly, staying out of reach of Aizawa. He kneels, holding a hand up for the kid, who looks at him with nothing but fear and disappointment in eyes. Izuku doesn't take the offered hand, so he sets it back onto his lap, keeping the child's gaze. "I couldn't let you end it, Izuku," he explains gently. Izuku looks away from him. "What happened, kid?" he asks, sitting down with the kid. He doesn't move any closer, afraid to trigger a flight reaction. Izuku shakes his head, burying his face into his knees. Aizawa sighs, pulling out his phone from his pocket. "I'm gonna call Detective Tsukauchi and let him know that I found you. He's been worried sick." Izuku looks up scared and shakes his head intensely. Aizawa calls anyways, holding his phone up to his ear. It rings only once before the detective picks up. "Did you find him?" he asks worryingly, not letting Aizawa speak. "I did," Aizawa answered, looking at the frightened child. "It's not good." He finished, frowning. How do you tell the equivalent of a worried parent that their kid tried committing suicide? Tsukauchi sighs, and Aizawa can hear him grabbing his stuff. I do not doubt that after looking at Shinsou. He responds as a door opens and closes. I'm on my way. And then he hangs up. Aizawa jumps as a loud thug sound from behind him. He jumps up and whips around, grabbing his capture weapon. A large rock bounces down the sidewalk slowly, rolling to a stop. He spins back, around. Fuck. The kid is gone. Just like that. He looked away for 1 second, and the child was gone. Aizawa is having no luck with children. Izuku. He calls, ducking into nearby alleys and searching through all the nooks and crannies. The kid is nowhere to be found. Aizawa is meant to be good at finding and hearing things, but it's silent. He uses his scarf on the light post, swinging himself up the nearest roof. The green hair is gone. Izuku holds his breath, waiting as Eraserhead passes him. He can hear boxes clattering and glasses shattering as Eraserhead calls his name over and over. He pushes forward into the top of the dumpster, hoping that Eraserhead doesn't think to look under it. He's mostly blocked from view by old trash and bags, but there's always a chance. He crawled under here, barely managing to fit, and he wasn't going to move. Eraserhead may be a good hero, one of the best, but Izuku was a better hider. He had spent his whole life hiding from bullies and hiding his hurt from his mom. He had tried to show himself, and he had gotten more people hurt. So he hid. He made no sound like a soldier holding on a battlefield. He held his breath until Eraserhead hopped up onto a roof and cursed. He felt bad for hiding from one of his favorite heroes, especially because he was Hitoshi's favorite hero. But he wanted to call Tsukauchi, and Tsukauchi would want to know what happened. Izuku can't tell him that he has no idea. That 1 second he was with Hitoshi on the police roof, and the next he was vomiting up blood and flesh. Izuku needed to find out what happened. He couldn't let the people he cared about get hurt. Not again. He heard the sirens before he could see the floor changing colors. He heard a door slam and wince, holding his breath once more. Eraser! Tsukauchi called. Of course he had come. Where is Izuku? He sounded so worried that Izuku wanted to crawl out and hug him right now. But the last time someone had worried about him, he had killed her. He couldn't move. He couldn't breathe. He heard Eraserhead land back on top of the dumpster, making him shake. All they had to do was look under. Izuku should have found a better spot. He should have run. He should have hit the floor. I lost him, Eraserhead says, sounding disappointed. He tricked me into looking away and then was gone. He could hear Eraserhead sigh, the exhaustion seeping through his voice. I don't know, detective, but we need to find him. Tsukauchi stepped down the alley slowly, moving closer and closer to Izuku. Look down. Izuku wanted to tell them. Look down. But he knew he couldn't. He couldn't let them find him. What aren't you telling me? Tsukauchi asked, spinning on his heels. Izuku could see his feet now as he stood right in front of the dumpster. Detective, Eraserhead said, almost sadly. He tried to jump. Tsukauchi took a step back, out of shock, before grasping through tears. His shoes. He had left his shoes for anyone to see. They would all know that they belonged to the quirkless kid. He was such an idiot. No! Hitoshi spoke. He heard a car door slam and the sound of running before he saw Hitoshi's feet. He must have come with Tsukauchi. Izuku wouldn't have done that, he said, determined. Izuku was surprised to hear him talk so much. Tsukauchi must have helped him heal. He had shown him his hurt. Izuku's heart hurt. He didn't want Hitoshi to know he was weak, that life had gotten too hard, and he wanted the easy way out. He was exhausted, and Hitoshi couldn't see that. Tsukauchi knelt, grabbing Hitoshi's hand with his own. Sometimes people are tired, Shinsou. It doesn't make them any less of a person we love. It doesn't make them weak. It just makes them tired. Hitoshi rips his hands back and clutches them against his side. No! No! He repeats, and Izuku sees tears fall onto the ground. No! Heroes don't get tired. We're gonna be heroes together. This time, he hears Eraserhead sigh, walking towards the pair, kneeling as well. Kid, heroes are exhausted all the time, he says, raising his hands towards Hitoshi's face before lowering it. Sometimes it wins, but we will always try to stop it. No! Hitoshi says again. Why can't he just understand? Izuku wants him to go away. He wants to be able to breathe again. No! Izuku wouldn't let his tiredness win. He's strong. Tsukauchi holds out his arms, and he can see Hitoshi fall into them. We'll find him, kid. We'll get him back. He doesn't promise, but he sounds so sure that Izuku wants to scream. He doesn't want to be found. Why can't they just leave him alone? He doesn't want to hurt them anymore. You wouldn't leave me alone. Hitoshi hiccuped into Tsukauchi, burying himself deeper into the man's coat. You wouldn't do that. Izuku was selfish. And for the first time, he didn't care. He was helping everyone by disappearing. I sent out the missing kid report, but I wouldn't have much faith in heroes searching. Tsukauchi says honestly, downing another cup of coffee. He was starting to look like Aizawa with bags and stubble growing. They'll take one look at the Quirk status and decide not to keep looking. Aizawa sighs, rubbing at his eyes. The kid was asleep on the couch, and Aizawa was surprised that he had held on this long. Chio's healing quirk had taken a lot out of him, but he had pushed on up until he had sobbed to Tsukauchi. It was heart-wrenching, even for someone who saw horrors every night. The dark hid those hurting most, but this child's tears hurt him. Chio could heal the scabs and open cuts, but the scars that had already sat in his skin were permanent. They were healed to the best of their abilities. The scars on his heart wouldn't heal. Aizawa knew the cuts that formed when a friend left you alone. I'm really worried about him, Aizawa admits, leaning back on an armchair he occupied. He seems so happy, stepping off the ledge. I barely caught him, Tsukauchi. He murmured, looking away. What if he already succeeded again? Because I took my eyes off of him. Tsukauchi shakes his head, leaning back in his office chair. He didn't want to be found. That's not on you. Your job is to watch your surroundings, and you did that. He's smart. Smarter than any kid his age I've seen. Tsukauchi dug around under his desk, pulling out a backpack of notebooks. These were taken from his house. Look through them, he told Aizawa, pushing them towards him. Aizawa got up and moved the chair across Tsukauchi, digging through the bag. He pulled out notebook after notebook, slowly scanning the pages. They started very childlike. The font was messy and the writing was hard to read. The pictures of heroes that accompanied each around were stick figures and strangely drawn. But book by book, the writing became more cohesive, the bullet points more specific. He had extensive knowledge of every hero. The drawings were really good for a kid his age, showing and detailing their costume. Aizawa slowly read through his entry, shocked at the information the kid possessed. His family tree and history throughout school and UA were extensive. His relationships were all accurate. Besides the alleged relationship between him and Hizashi, of course, there was even an extensive spread of information on Oboro. His quirk and personality. His death was even written in high detail, and UA had been careful to let very little get out, so this was impressive. Heroes could have learned so much from this kid, Aizawa said, reading through the suggestions and tests he suggested for both Aizawa's quirk and capture weapon. This is really important stuff. Tsukauchi sighed, rubbing at the bridge of his nose. What if Izuku falls into the villain side, Shouta? Shouta shuts the notebook, tugging it back into the bag slowly and methodically. It wouldn't be by his own free will. Aizawa says, though he's unsure. The kid was hurting. He wanted to be a hero his whole life. Shouta, Tsukauchi said, stepping forward. You know just as well as I do that there are great evils lurking in the country. Once they learn of Izuku, I have no doubt he will be targeted as a powerful analysis. Aizawa lays his head on the table, sighing again. We need to find that kid. We need to save him. Sometimes people don't want to be saved anymore, Tsukauchi says, before letting the silence hang over the room like a blanket. The kid needed more than to be saved. He needed to be rescued from himself. Okay. Aizawa. Interesting. Also, chapter 21 is going to very much be sliced into 2 chapters. Or 2 episodes. Summary, another traumatized teenager appears. The hero's stuck. Izuku finds a friend. Tomura finds a lead. I'm scared. I'm scared. Rightfully so. Scared. Guys, have I said that I'm scared? I'm scared. Okay, no, I can do this. We can do this. I don't have to be scared, even though I am very terrified. Look, I don't know where this is going. We could either go Izuku doesn't get saved and he's a vigilante till he gets saved, and then Hitoshi and Izuku have their reuniting and then, like, you know, they're friends and then lovers and stuff. Or, I don't fucking know. Also, this fic is making me really want to write that alternate universe fluffy mind where instead of Izuku going to Nomura and Tensei, Izuku goes to, Tsukauchi. I forgot his name for a second. Anyways, this was really sweet. Not really. It was chopping the onions. As always, my raindrops. Make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.